Barrick, yeah.
I mean, but Ed.
Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of skipping towards the end of our show, where we're going to talk about who dies in episode 3. But yeah, Grey Worm has such a touching scene where he's like,
he's going to protect
I'm gonna
her.
Protect you. Like, I'm here to protect you, and I love you. And they have that embrace, and we're not going to stay here. We're going to go back home to the beaches and everything else, and we're going to live out our happy days. And yeah, he's leading from the front too.
Right.
Like, he's not going to be hiding in the crypts. Like, he's going to be out there in the very first part of the battle.
He's the Unsullied are still the best. To me, they're like the best unit that they have. If they equip him well enough against these monsters.
Oh, he's going to take out a bunch. Him and Jorah are going to be the emotional centers of next week.
Okay. So you got, other than that, you got a short scene with the 3 Night's Watchmen.
Yeah, it was touching. The brothers were back together. You know?
And now their watch begins. So you had that.
But then
you had the Hound and Barrick.
And with Arya for a second, and then she bounces.
Right, and you still don't have
a little bit.
Right, and you still don't have the Hound and Arya. I thought they'd make a little bit better amends, but they're still a little icy. Yeah, I thought that.
But I think
things would soften up.
I think if Barrick didn't show up, I think they would have had that.
Me too. And I think that in the next episode or something like that happen, and Hound will jump and save Arya's life if it came down to that. Like, I think he would die for her no matter what. You know what I mean? But the Hound's that tough exterior. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you had that, and then here's the second part of it. You had Dany. She's got the next arc. Or you want to talk about the battle plans?
The battle plan scene was pretty
The battle
sweet.
plan was cool.
So
you had everyone.
Yeah, everybody all together in one room, and they're just discussing everything. And I think the way that Jon is looking at it in that scene is the right way to look at it. We're not going to leave Bran out there by himself. We're gonna be on the dragons, and we're gonna be close enough to where if we need to pounce, we can pounce. The whole goal is to get them away, get the Night King away from all the whites.
Right.
And
so their plan is to isolate the Night King. Bran's going to be in the Godswood, so he's still protected, but with walls. But he's not hiding in the crypt or anything.
And, the Night King has Viserion.
He has a dragon too, so you're going to have 2 dragons running interference. So you're going to get this dance of dragons happening. Yeah. Night King's got to come within Bran's. They got to see each other. Something's going to go down there. Theon offers to guard Bran with his Ironborn. So you have that, and then they set up a perimeter. You see some trebuchets. They're going to probably be shooting some kind of flaming balls. It looks like it's going to be an epic battle lined up.
Yeah, next week is going to be lights out.
Right. And it's really cool to see everyone in the same room, though, because you have the Dothraki, you got the Unsullied, you got Jon, you got Dany, you got Theon, Davos. Every single character that we have in that room talking about it and talking about the long night, Bran talking about, what is the point of this thing for them. And if you kill Bran, the 3-eyed raven...
And I feel like everybody got a line in there, too.
Yeah. But the whole point is, for the battle plan of the Night's King, is to kill the 3-eyed raven, right? So that's the target. That's their bait, So it's going to be interesting to see how this plans out, because... most of the time when they drop battle plans, don't go as planned.
That's true.
So I'm thinking crypts are going to be used to infiltrate into the castle. Whoever's in the crypts is going down.
Man, that's possible.
It's
possible. Because we did see Arya running around the crypts in the preview.
So here's the other thing I noticed. There were several scenes where you just get a couple of seconds extra with these little children. And I mentioned this to you, and, hungry children eating from bowls and whatnot, and you're just, I don't know, it just left me believing that there's something more to these kids. A couple of seasons ago, you had this little kid that had, black mouth or something that was supposed to assassinate Dany in Marine or Yunkai, I can't remember which one, but I'm just thinking, like, I wonder if these are the children of the forest coming in, and I don't know what's going on, but I just feel like there's something going on there.
Right.
I'd be really interested to see, because they did create the White Walkers, the children of the forest, you know? So I'm curious about how that pans out.
Yeah.
But next you got Dany.
No, it's just Dany. The rest of the episode is basically Dany. I mean, obviously she's been in and out of the episode, but like for our purposes, the rest of the episode is Dany. So you have Dany and Sansa.
Right. First you have Jorah talking to Dany about giving people a second chance.
Yeah.
Tyrion, and she does. Then he also, the second person, you don't even know what he's talking about, but it's obviously Tyrion and Sansa, right? So first she talks to Tyrion, and basically puts him back in the good books, because Dany, since she's come to Westeros, has been a tyrant. You know,
power hungry,
like and demanding respect.
She only wants the Iron Throne,
and I understand that, but she demands respect. She's not earning it like she used to.
Right.
She's not trying to get people on her side.
She's a different person than when she was in Marine.
That's right, and it's not a good side of Dany, and it's kind of brushing us off the Dany bandwagon, So Jorah kind of talks to her about bringing Tyrion back. So Tyrion's back in the fold. Then Sansa and Dany have their
have a really good scene.
Really good scene, and they get along.
Yeah, like there's some understanding between the two of them.
Right, and she's totally schmoozing her with like, we're both women, and that managed to do all of this,
Well, and she's saying, I love Jon and Jon loves me, and this whole thing, like, it's not just about like trying to use people. Like, I'm in love with Jon, and I know he loves me too, and but then it slides when Sansa asks about the North. She wants the North not to have to bend the knee anymore.
Right.
So what are you going to do with the North after we win? I thank you so much for saving my brother. Like, I forgot to tell you that. Thank you.
Right.
But what happens to the North once you take the Iron Throne?
Right.
And that's when the coldness happens again.
Right.
All of a sudden, Dany pushes away from Sansa because Dany wants that power.
Right.
I'm the rightful heir of Westeros.
Exactly.
Like, I should automatically have all 7 kingdoms. Blah, 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 blah. And it's all BS because...
And it's very interesting if you think about it, how she gave up the Iron Islands.
Yeah.
Without her getting her panties in a wad.
I just have a feeling like if she really wanted to, she would just take those back.
Yeah, of course.
I have a dragon.
Right. But it's just very interesting with how she came to an agreement with Yara for nothing. And she's got no power. You know what I mean? Anyway, and I would think the worst part about this, just like I talked about last week, how many of these problems could have been easily solved with a simple conversation.
Right, yeah.
It's like, why wouldn't she say something like, that's something to discuss in the future, or any kind of delay play.
Exactly.
Or say something like, well, I don't know how, is it too forward to say that I'm hoping that maybe we could unite the kingdoms.
Right.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
And just, like, that's it.
I love your brother. What do you think is going to happen?
Right. Like, not even like, there's no reason to be like, it's like, we would be together.
Yeah,
so therefore, there would be no issue.
Right. Like, why push away?
Right.
But, so she pushed away from Sansa.
And you get a message coming in, and it's Theon.
Theon, yeah. And Theon comes in, and Sansa's happy to see him.
Right. And they're waiting for the news, and, first he doesn't know who to address, because he's like, her or her. So he just kneels, and tells Dany, he freed Yara.
Yeah,
it's like, good job,
Yara's
buddy.
going back. She's going to take back the Iron Islands. You'll have a small fleet. This is what's happening.
Right.
He brought the gold company. So now we have all of this information for the next battle.
Right.
That's going to happen in episode 5 or 6.
Exactly.
Right?
He's filling in the blanks.
And so that part was cool. The embrace between Theon and Sansa was a little, I don't know. Like,
yeah, so after he tells her that, he says he's not leaving.
He was Reek for so long that I just don't know. Like, would you really feel that close to him, even though he got you out?
Right.
Would you feel that close to him after being Reek for so long? Like, he saw Ramsay do all that crazy shit to you. and for a long time let it happen.
Yeah, but you've seen what Ramsay did to him. It's not like he let it happen. It's like...
So it's just an interesting embrace.
Right. And I don't know if, like, basically he pledges himself to her. I think it's kind of like, it's more of like a rub it in the face of Dany, that here's another person that is willing to do something for Sansa rather than Dany.
Yeah.
You know, and not that he's still on Dany's side, right? I mean, to a point, I guess. Right. But, I mean, he's pledged himself to Sansa, kind of like...
Theon is on the death list as well.
Definitely.
On this, in this next episode.
Theon, well, we'll talk about it. But I think we're going to side on a lot of these dead people, my friend.
We forgot to talk about Arya and Gendry real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Before we get to the last scene, which is Jon and Dany. Arya goes and she
checks out her weapon.
She's so hardcore now that she just is like, I'm of age, so let's get it.
Yeah.
And there was also, we talked about that little romance that had been budding from season 1.
Right. Except then she was... Yeah. First of all, by the way, Maisie Williams and who plays Sansa? What's her name? But the two girls are of the same age. I don't know if you knew that.
Are they really?
Yeah. They're supposed to play, in the books they're younger, but I mean they're supposed to play like a couple of years apart, right? Yeah. But she's shorter, so she always appeared younger. But she's 22 in real life, right? So and she's supposed to be, I don't know, let's say 18 to make it not too pervy. Yeah. But you have her being very forward with Gendry, but especially when you think about when they first met, she was like a kid.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Super young. Yeah, no, it was awkward.
Yeah, it was very awkward.
It's the same. It's the same feeling that you
nudity.
It's the same feeling that you feel when you watch like Harry Potter movies, and you see like Hermione,
right?
And what.
And they're
Emma
very
Watson
cute girls and everything,
to
but
grow up into like it's sick.
Yeah, she was your little sister, and now this.
Right. Yeah. It's like,
And by the way, Arya's cute. It's just little sister vibe. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's just gross.
Right. She does the whole the faceless men question thing, where she asks him questions and she's like, no, yes, she knows exactly where he's lying. But at least, hey, she got her thing on before they were about to die, so it's cool.
Well, she's not dying.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think so, but
Gendry's dying, but she's not dying. Not yet. She's going to die, but not yet.
All right, we'll see.
All right, so let's get into Jon and Dany. Yeah.
All right. So Jon, by the way, in this
has run away from Dany the whole episode.
Right.
Does not want to be alone with her at all.
And he hasn't had much screen time at all.
No.
So he's just contemplating life. He's had the beginning scene where he leaves abruptly, and he had one scene with Sam and Ed, and now here he is with Dany in the crypts, and he breaks down that. They're looking at Lyanna. Dany comments.
Well, he had the battle plan scene too.
Oh,
where he bounced early too.
Right.
Like he just stormed off again.
And they're looking at Lyanna's statue, and she's like, "Oh, can't believe Rhaegar did that." And he says, "No, he didn't. They were in love. They were married, and they had a child that my mother gave to my uncle to raise as his own, and that's me." Basically,
and my real name is Aegon Targaryen.
Right.
And she's like, "No, I don't believe it."
Right.
And he's like, "Where did you get this information?"
Right.
He's like, "Well, Bran told me he saw it, and Sam confirmed it through the books at the Citadel. So your brother and your best friend are the ones that told you that you have the claim to the Iron Throne because you're the last male heir." And
it's a fair point.
But the look on Jon's face is like, really? This is how it goes back to what Sam was saying.
Yep.
How would she react if she had a chance to give up her power or whatever, like her case to the throne?
Right.
How would she react? We just saw it.
Right.
She doesn't want to believe it.
Yeah.
Now this is where, and something that we've talked about for years, does Howland Reed come into play? Should he be at Winterfell at this point anyway? Like everybody from the north is at Winterfell. He should be there somewhere in the,
Right.
So
I was thinking that he was going to make an appearance, but once this whole thing happened with Sam reading it in a book and Bran knowing everything, I thought that it just overkill.
It just gives the connection.
It would have been better, and in the book, I think it's going to happen.
To me, Jon should have said, why do you think I could ride
Could
a
have
dragon?
ridden a dragon. Exactly. Just like I said last week,
Right.
it should have been confirmation of his Targaryenism,
Exactly.
not
But that's where he should have said it again. Like,